Michigan Magazine is kept on the road by our many Michigan friends. Clemix Sales and Service on Mapes Road, west of Mile, your complete recreational vehicle sales and service connection. Visit their beautiful showroom of new and pre-owned ATVs, lawnmowers, power equipment, snowmobiles, utility vehicles, and more. Clemix Sales and Service is also the home of the American-made Victory motorcycle line on display at Clemix on Mapes Road, Mile. Hingeman Acres Canoe Livery and Resort on M33 just north of Mile, catering to the outdoor enthusiasts. Cabins, canoes, kayaks, rafts, and more. Daytime or overnight trips along the world-famous Asabo River. A family getaway for over 75 years. You'll find delicious food and fun at Timber Steakhouse, East County Line Road, South Branch, Michigan. You'll find delicious steaks, pizza, and a full menu with the best food in the north. Enjoy the fine food and karaoke fun at Timber Steakhouse, County Line Road, South Branch. Greenbrier Golf Course, Sage Lake Road, Lupton. You'll love this beautiful, professionally designed 18-hole course with a bogey golfer in mind. From pro to beginner, Greenbrier will have you returning for more. Enjoy the watered fairways, driving range, full-service restaurant, bar with Wi-Fi, and gift shop. Greenbrier, Sage Lake Road, Lupton. Hi, welcome to Michigan Magazine. I'm Barry Stutzman. Glad you could come back and visit with me today as we hit those Michigan back roads. Today we say cheese as we visit the family cheese-making operation in Whittimore, Michigan, the Turner Cheese Company. They've been making cheese since 1931. Then we bring you the legacy of Northern Michigan artist, the late Randy Bartlett of Baldwin, Michigan. Shortly before his passing, he shared with Michigan Magazine his beautiful outlook on life, even though he had to climb countless mountains after diabetes left him blind and the victim of an amputation. These inspiring stories of Michiganders who made it happen coming up on this week's Michigan Magazine.
Vacation. Don't make the planning of it more than what you're trying to get away from. At northernmichigancabinrentals.com, you can choose from over 2,500 cabins, cottages, lodges, resorts, lakefront vacation home rentals, and more. Whatever experience you're looking for, from rustic to luxury and everything in between. No more rustling with telephone books. No more endless internet searches. Just one site with over 2,500 Northern Michigan destinations. northernmichigancabinrentals.com.
If you're a Northern Michigan businessman or woman and your family-owned business has been in existence since 1931, you certainly have the right to smile and say cheese for the cameras. Well, the Peterson family of Whittimore takes extra delight in saying cheese because they not only operate a profitable family business that's been operating since 1931, but also because that business is in the business of cheese making. It's the Turner Cheese Company of Whittimore, and in their new facilities along M65, just north of the Whittimore village limits, they have crafted a wide variety of specialty cheeses that draw fans from throughout Michigan. Here you'll find the cheese crew creating delicious works of art, beginning with fresh area Amish milk. On today's edition of Michigan Magazine, we visit with owner Dave Peterson on Cheese Making Day. It's Turner Cheese Company, but here you are in Whittimore, Dave.
Yeah, correct, Barry. It all started in 1931. My grandfather, Louis Peterson, came over from Wisconsin, and he was a Wisconsin maker, and he came to Turner and started making cheese. He started making it at Turner Cheese Plant at that time, and then later bought the plant. He made cheese up till about 1962 at his death, and in 1966 we had a fire at the plant which destroyed the plant, and they just never rebuilt the plant. And here in 2001, I come up with the idea. My father, Laverne, he grew up in the cheese business, making cheese, and learned from my grandfather. And I'd ask him if we could take and make cheese again. And he said, sure, I can take and show you how it's made, and here we are today. We took and built a new plant, put the equipment in, and we're making cheese.
Well, what was so interesting to you about cheese making? I mean, just the history of it, or just in the family, or?
You know, what got me involved in the cheese making is I had a lot of older generation people that would come up and they'd find out who I was, and they said, boy, you people should have stayed in the cheese business. And so I took that, and one day I ended up looking through a box of old memorabilia of the plant, and I decided, you know, if people wanted a cheese back then and it was a great product, let's see if we can bring the great product back today. And in 2001 we decided to take and put our mind to it and put the pencils to it and design a plant and build it.
So this is a pretty fairly new building then here.
This building was put up in 2003, yes.
Oh my goodness. And once again, the process is, and I mean, you rely heavily on area milk. I mean, this is from actual Amish farms, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's from 56 Amish families that comes out of the Gladwin and Clare County areas. It starts as canned milk in the 10-gallon milk cans. It is then taken into a pumping station there in Gladwin, and is converted from the canned milk into the bulk form. Put in a holding tank after it is sampled and weighed, and then our tanker goes in and picks up the milk and brings it back here into the intake, and there we go, we're off and running making cheese.
That's the very beginning of it. And then
that's the beginning.
Add different cultures for different flavors?
We take and we pasteurize the milk. We bring it up to 145 degrees for a half hour. And then after the milk is pasteurized, is then run through our plate cooler and brought down to a certain temperature. And then at that point, it enters the vat. We add cultures back into the milk for the specific type of cheese that we're making for that particular batch. And coloring goes in. And then we take and we run it into milk. Rennet then coagulates the milk. We cut it with our curd knives, put the steam to it, and start cooking it. We cook it up to a specific temperature for that type of cheese that's being made, and also control the acidity that's on it, the pH. And when we have them combinations where we want them, we then start draining the whey off of the vat. And what that leaves us with the whey, or the cheese in the bottom of the vat, the curd. And then at that point we hoop up the curd into the hoops, either blocks or daisies or longhorns, whatever we're making for that particular day, and put it in the press, and we got cheese.
I bet you do cheese making in your sleep sometimes.
Well, sometimes, yeah. Yeah, it's something that just is in your blood.
Yeah, yeah. Now, how many outlets do you have once again, Dave? As far as...
We handle about 40 outlets and stores here that we service here out of the plant, and Great North Foods out of Alpena, Michigan, we have roughly between 600 and 800 stores that they service, that they handle our cheese at.
Oh my. You mentioned that you do put a little color to the cheese. I mean, what's the natural color of cheese?
Natural color of cheese is white.
Okay.
The color of the milk.
Yeah, there you go. And that other color is just something that people expect, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, that's kind of a neat process too. Okay, so let's take a look at what's happening in the plant today. I mean, what is going on today?
Well, today, Barry, we're going to be making about 10,000 pounds of milk into roughly about 1,000 pounds of cheddar cheese. Stirred cheddar is what we're making today.
Okay, so let's take a look and see some of the operations. First thing, of course, you are regulated by what, the Department of Agriculture?
Of course, we're regulated by the Michigan Department of Agriculture. And we have annual inspections that come in. We have monthly inspections with our water, our cheese, and our milk is sampled. Also, every 6 months we have inspections.
So you got quality stuff here.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's head on into the next group there.
All right. Well, what we're doing right now is we're turning that 10,000 pounds of milk into 1,000 pounds of cheese.
Okay.
And milk's entering the vat right now. It's already had its culture added to it. The ladies here are taking and getting the hoops set up, putting the liners in them.
Okay. These the holding tanks?
This is the milk intake where the trucks come in, the tanker comes in, and or receiving bay, as some people would call it. And the milk is pumped off into these holding tanks, and then later transferred into the pasteurizer.
Oh my.
That's open. This is where our milk's coming from right now. This holds about 12,000 pounds of milk. This is where our raw milk enters into the pasteurization tank, your holding tank, and we bring it up to the 145 degrees. Right now we're in the process of pumping it out, of course, through the plate cooler to cool it down, and then it's entering the vat. So years ago, we never used to take and sell cheese in cut or wrap or sell under our own label. It was always sold in the bulk form, and then the stores at that time then just put their own labels on it. So nobody really knew, excuse me, who Turner Cheese was, other than the locals. That's when I got into it. I told Dad, I says, well, we'll just take and do the whole thing. And that's what's really become a big issue, is not only we're doing everything but milking a cow here.
You're just at a level where you can decide how big you want to get.
Yeah.
I mean, the customer base is there if you want to grab it.
The customer base is there, and we was just talking about this, the other day that the vats, we're only running 1 or 2 times a week, sometimes 3. But it only takes 4 hours actually to run the milk through. I mean, it takes a long time to process or the pasteurizing that, but we could speed that system up a little bit if need be. The reason we went to this type of system is because we didn't plan on doing a whole lot. We were just scratching the surface right now. So it's out there if we want to go get it.
Yeah. Well, seeing the customers coming to the Turner Cheese headquarters, it looked as if the Petersons won't have to go looking far for new markets. Those markets are starting to make it to their doors themselves. In anticipation of expansion, Dave told us added facilities in Pinconning have already been acquired. A big tip of the hat to the Petersons. We salute their enterprising spirit in reviving that Northern Michigan tradition of delicious Turner cheese. Michigan Magazine is being brought to you in part by Canyons Lakeside Resort and Marina, located on the shores of beautiful Sage Lake. Get away to their newly remodeled beautiful bed and breakfast or their historic 13-room hotel. Special events and activities for all ages. Call now or go online for more information on this Michigan treasure. Randy's Restaurant and Bakery, downtown Rose City. Freshly baked daily. Cookies, breads, pastries, donuts, homemade pies, and more. Randy's has a full menu to tackle the heartiest appetite, including pizza and hand-dipped ice cream. Tri-Point Connections, a church connecting to God, people, and community. Tri-Point Connections invites you to rediscover church in a relaxed, refreshing atmosphere. Join us Saturdays for fellowship and worship. Rose City Drug, just south of the Rose City city limits at 2640 North M33, featuring a state-of-the-art, completely automated and extremely accurate computer-filled prescription process.
Here at Rose City Drug, we're family-owned and operated for over 20 years. We offer fast and friendly service, and we always take the extra step to make sure your needs are fulfilled.
Well, I've always liked to draw and paint, even when I was younger in school. And after I got out of the military, I had a chance to go to Kendall down in Grand Rapids. I went there and studied as an illustrator, and as things just went from there. I was doing illustrations for different magazines a little bit when we were first doing that, and then in time I got sick and wasn't able to do that kind of stuff, and we started doing art, more fine art, and taking it to shows, and then we've just been doing it here at the garage now, working out of this little shop that I got and selling right here, and it seems to work out pretty good for me, and that's all I'm happy, you know.
Yeah, you seem to be happy. I notice, as you can hear in the background, we've got cars going, zooming on by. You're right next to, what is this, 37?
37,
I'm
right.
About 3.5 miles at a motel, and you've got a nice studio here. But, you know, you've got your formal training, and you've been into the world of artistry. But, of course, what's so unusual about your art is you do have what some people call a handicap. Things, health-wise, have been going in a different direction. Tell us a little bit about that and how you overcame this.
Well, I'd gotten sick, and I had lost the use of my kidneys, so I'm doing dialysis, and then I'd had some trouble and lost a leg and lost my eyesight, and I thought, at first I had given up and thought, you know, I just can't do any of this stuff anymore, and then got to thinking, maybe I can, I just have to approach it different, and so what I did was, like my painting, I have trouble with the colors. I know where they should be, but I can't always tell different colors from each other, so my wife comes in, sets them out for me on my palette. I have no problem, and I do my paintings. The carving, I realize that I don't have to necessarily see them to do them. I can feel them with my hand and carve them that way, and so I can still carve. And I learned that you can do a lot of things. You just got to do it maybe a little bit different than you used to, and life goes on. You can do all that stuff. You just got to get out there and do it.
Was it a hard decision for you to make? I mean, you must have gone through a time when you thought, I really wonder if I can do this. I mean, tell us, you had to go through a point of why, or how.
Yeah. In the beginning, I thought, what am I going to do? You know, and in the beginning, you kind of give up, but then I kept thinking there has to be something that I can do again, and so I started trying things, and so, if this didn't work, I'd try it a little bit different, and if that didn't work, I just kept trying until I figured out that you can do those. Like for me, I figured out that I can see, but I see it different. than I used to. And so I just have to carve it different. And so maybe my detail isn't quite the same that it used to be, but it's still there. And I can do the paintings. Maybe I can't see all the little nuances, but my mind still knows they're there. And so it's just a matter of getting out and doing it. I don't know how else better to say than it. You just got to do it.
You are still on dialysis. I mean, this is something that
I do that 3 times a week.
3 times a week.
Yeah.
So this is a Wednesday we're meeting with you. And when's the last time you had dialysis?
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah.
And
I'll have it again tomorrow. I have it Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. And what I do is I go up there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm up there until about 9 or 10. Then we come back from Cadillac, and Susie feeds me lunch. That's my wife. And then I come down here for the rest of the day, probably till about 5 or 6. And then the following day, when it's non-dialysis day, I come down here at about 8 o'clock and stay till about 5 or 6 again. And you know, I make a little bit of money, so it keeps me happy there, and it gives me what I need to make more things. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But every day I keep going at it, and I just feel bad sometimes. Some of the people up there at Dallas, they just act like after dialysis there's nothing they can do, and they can still knit or sew or work in the shop or work in the garden. They can still do all the things they want to do, basically. They just gotta want to do them. That's the whole point for me. Was what I used to do. No, there's some of them things, like I can't wade in the river anymore like I used to, and even canoeing down the river I can go with other people, but I really can't see well enough probably to do it myself anymore. But so I can't do that anymore that way. But that doesn't mean that I still can't draw on those memories, like you said, and still have a part of that river in me that I can show other people, even though it's, like I say, it's not the same as it used to be for me. I might be able to show somebody how to, when we were going down the river and I was guiding, how to catch the trout. Well, I can't really do that any longer, but I can show you that trout on a painting, you know, or the guy on the painting or whatever it may be. And the point is, with anybody, maybe you can't do things exactly like you used to do, but you can still do things. That's the point. It's not, and I'm not trying to, anybody can, that's the whole point. I don't know how else to tell you that. No, maybe you can't walk the same as you used to, but you can still do something, even if it's walking with crutches or be in a little wheelchair or something, and you can still do things, is the point, I guess, with me. And that's what it took me a while to realize, is that I could still do this stuff even though I can't do it the same as I used to do it. I guess with me, it's I carve for a while, and then if I get bored with that, I go make a painting, and if I get bored with that, I go do a scrimshaw. And what I do that for is, I think sometimes it does me good to branch out a little bit that way, you know what I mean, and not always do the same thing all the time, because you can get kind of in a rut. I do a lot at once, because maybe why this one's drying, I can be over here working on this one, and when this one has maybe stopped for a while for whatever reason, maybe I'm waiting for the paint or the something to dry, I can go over there to the scratch board and do that for a little while, and it just, that way I'm constantly doing something. Otherwise, you can, there again, something can stop you for a little while, and you can get downtime that you really don't need or want, you know. So I just keep going at whatever I got to work at the time. Well, you know, my wife has been fantastic. I mean, she's done a lot for me. I mean, she's had to help me with things that I just couldn't do myself. And even here in the artwork, she's had, like I say, she's had to help me set up my paints a lot of times, or maybe something doesn't look quite right to me, and somehow, and so she'll look at it and tell me where I probably did wrong or whatever. And it's not just Susie. My son's been helping me here and there in the shop with things that I need, like setting up the saws and stuff sometimes, and it's just not my family. I've had the Blind Association. They've been real good to me, and they've done a lot of different things for me to help me. They gave me the confidence I needed to learn to walk again, kinda, because when my eyesight, went out, I was afraid to even move out of my chair. And then the people up at dialysis, they've been wonderful, and they've taught me, about my body and what I need to do to make that still work right. And it's not any one person I can say that's helped me in that sense. It's been a lot of different groups, of people. It's been the nurses and my wife and my son and my mother and my in-laws, all of them, And that makes a big difference, because you need that. Nobody's an island all to himself,
Well, there you go. It's simply amazing what you'll find off the beaten path. Our discoveries and adventures made easier by the likes of today's guests are prime examples of what's out your own back door. Your neighbor, your friends, and even your own family. You might catch them here in the spotlight. So keep watching. I'm Barry Stutzman. Thanks for joining us. See you next week for another edition of Michigan Magazine. We'd like to thank all those that help keep Michigan Magazine on the road. Discount Foods Downtown Mile. Find national name brand foods and merchandise at sharply discounted prices. Shop the smart way and please the family without breaking the budget. Discount Foods Downtown Mile. Rose Valley Winery, committed to making quality wines from locally grown cold hardy grapes. Rose Valley Winery on Beechwood Road, Rose City. 33 Motorsports Park, family racing fun for all ages and skill levels. 3 tracks located on M33 in Oscoda County. Come watch or join in the action all year long. Developed for motorcycles, quads, UTVs, and snowmobiles. 33 Motorsports Park. The Michigan-made rebounding mailbox pole. Never again worry about the winter snowplow taking out your mailbox. With this ingenious rebounding pole, your mailbox takes a hit and keeps coming back year after year. Call now or visit their website, toughmailboxes.com.